Greetings. I wanted to do some angel talk because somebody got in touch who'd been watching my videos. Thank you very much for watching my videos. And they went, obviously, I don't know their tone because it was an email. Do you believe in angels? Because I talk about angels a lot. Contacting your higher angel, contacting the archangels, contacting any angels. They're there to help us if we reach out to them. So obviously I do believe in them. And I do think there are angels out there. And so did Gurdjieff. He talks about them a lot in All and Everything. They're a very important part of his cosmology and a very important part of his book as well. The angels are the archangels and the cherubims and the seraphims and so on. There's so many different types of angels because there's a hierarchy of them. And Gurdjieff's hierarchy is quite interesting. He talks a lot about how the angels helped develop this world, this cosmos, and obviously are at the side of the divine. There's special ones, which he calls, oh, sorry, I'm umming and ahhing already, that are the four quarter maintainers. But I just wanted, I'll come back to that bit in a minute. I just wanted to do a quote from All and Everything. And I advise the Holy Planet Purgatory chapter here is what I'm going to be mainly speaking from. He says, it is necessary to tell you that concerning the determinations of the degrees of individuality, so that's the individuality of any being in the universe, our cherubim and seraphim also then at the very beginning established that still now existing sacred determinator of reason, determinator of reason. They are the determinators of reason, which is applied for the determination of the gradations of reason, or more exactly, the totality of self-awareness of all separate, large and small cosmic concentrations, and by which not only are the gradations of their reason measured, but there is also determined their, as it is called, degree of justification of the sense and aim of their existence, and also the further role of each separate individual in relation to everything existing in our great megalocosmos. And that relates to all of us, every single person, every being, every entity in the whole universe is measured by this determinator of reason, of what their reason is. What grade of reason do you have? And for those of you that have read Beelzebub's Tales, All and Everything, you know that the whole book is about how to develop your grades of reason and how Beelzebub himself is going through his own development, a higher development than us mere mortals. But at the end of the book, there's a very important, I won't do a reveal, but it's about how he develops to the next stage. So Gurdjieff's telling us that these cherubim and seraphim are part of that organization, shall I call it, the rank that determines everybody's reason. They are the ones kind of like judges, I suppose. And you've probably heard in the old tales about angels. It's like they're keeping the records. They're writing down everything. They're knowledgeable of what's going on to everything. Nothing could be hidden from them, I believe. So even though they're watching down upon us all, we can call up to them or work with them if we put our mind to it and work on ourselves so that we can attune ourselves to an angelic vibration. I know that all sounds very new age, but I'm pretty sure that's what Gurdjieff's trying to teach us to do in the books. By working on ourselves, we're centering ourselves, we're getting all our centers in nice harmonious vibration and of a higher vibration, so that we're getting our higher centers working, their higher centers above our regular centers, that are then in touch with these angels and archangels. And as he says, it's the degree of justification of the sense and aim of their existence. What is the degree? What degree are you at in the justification for the sense of your existence? Have you got the right aims to be worthy of living? Though everybody's allowed to live, but some people just live mechanically. By doing this work, we're working to be real live people. Life is real only then when I am. So doing this kind of work is waking us up to the fact that we are worthy of going forward and developing ourselves, and we don't want to go back to sleep into a mechanical way of being. And Gurdjieff goes on to say, this sacred determinator of pure reason is nothing else than a kind of measure, i.e. a line divided into equal parts. One end of this line is marked as the total absence of any reason. For example, absolute firm calm, and at the other end there is indicated absolute reason, i.e. the reason of our incomparable creator endlessness. The incomparable creator endlessness, obviously the divine source. So he's the, or she, it is the highest part of reason. I'm going to do it an up and down line, and I think we go up because we're going up to reach. Don't really want to do a horizontal line because that's just keeping everything flat. Surely we're going higher, climbing up that ladder. And, you know, sleepy people, they have some grades of reason, but not grades of reason that we are attaining to, of being from a spiritual, soulful path of an awakening, of reaching up to the angels, the archangels, and being part of the whole cosmic process of this universe. And he talks about these angels, saying, like throughout Gurdjieff's book, there's all kinds. There's archangels, arch cherubs, arch seraphs, cherubim, seraphim. So obviously, if they've got the ark in front of them, like we have in the archangels of the Bible or the archangels of other faiths, you know, they're higher up the hierarchy. And then there'd be just your, I'm going to say regular angels. I don't mean to be rude to you, angels, but they're also working their way up, but they're just below. And we've got cherubim and seraphim, I believe, are, and Gurdjieff says this, I'll find that quote again for you in a minute. They're the ones that sit at the throne of the divine source. In the Bible, it says sits at the throne. Whether his endlessness sits on a throne or not, I'm not sure, but I'm sure he has a mighty fine chair. And he reminds us that the Most High Commission, consisting of angels and archangels, specialists in the work of world creation and world maintenance, under the direction of the most great Archangel Sakaki, sent from the Sun Absolute to the solar system Ors to investigate. Well, then it goes on about the story of the great cosmic catastrophe. So Gurdjieff's telling us that even we've got his endlessness, the divine source living in the Sun Absolute, and we've got the High Commission, which is this made up of the archangels and the who else was it? Angels and archangels, all of varying ranks, but they're all watching over the whole universe, and it's the maintenance of it. They're keeping the maintenance going. They're kind of in charge. And Gurdjieff talks about in the book that, you know, there were some mistakes by the angels, but you need to read the book to come to find out about that. Let me just move my microphone. Right, so where was I going to go? Throughout All and Everything, they discuss all these different angels and archangels coming and forth to Earth and back to the Sun Absolute, bringing messages, bringing you know, things that are needed to help the maintenance of the planet and for us. You know, they were the reason. I believe it was the archangel. Well, maybe the angels that gave us the Kunda buffer when everything was going wrong and we had to be kind of distracted from the era of the creation of the planet Earth. So given the Kunda buffer so we can sort of be a bit deluded and live in our imagination. And then when that had to be taken away, it was the angels who come and took it away from us, but we were still attached to it, even though it was no longer there physically. Kind of like when an amputee loses a limb, they can still sense that limb, that missing limb. Well, we apparently are like that with our Kunda buffer, which was like a towel coming out of the end of our spine. Right, sorry, this is going to have to be kind of a part 2 because something happened and I got taken away. Maybe an angel called. But anyway, I'm going to continue my angel talk. I was saying about learned beings. And then in Gurdjieff's books, he discusses about many learned beings and humans that or free brain beings, as he calls us, that develop themselves. And through their development, they reached the higher stages of human evolution and became known as saints. And usually they were blessed with sainthood by an angel. But he also talks about how the angels have all these different jobs and things that they have to get on with, including how they named everything. And naming things gives great power. And in the Bible, it's Adam who names all the animals. So that's why it said that we have power over the animals. But even just to name something, to give something a name rather than it being an it or a thing, gives it power. There's in its name, the meaning of that name is the attributes that it's being given. And Gurdjieff writes that our triumphant cherubim and seraphim then gave for the first time to all the newly arisen actualizations those names which still exist even until today concerning the cosmoses. So it's like the angels, the cherubim and the seraphim were the ones that named all the animals, all the plants, the whole universe, all the planets, which may be why everything, well, is why I think the names have been from ancient times. And we see repetitions of names in cultures that supposedly didn't know each other, which means that there was some kind of unification of all humans or free brain beings back in the olden days, in the ancient time, in the very first days, Septepi, as they call it in Egypt, when in ancient Egypt times the gods walked with the men, well, and the women, of course, with man and woman. They walked amongst us. And I'm a strong believer that back in the very first times when humanity was created, it probably was the angels and the archangels that walked amongst us. And of course, we've got the stories of the watchers, the watcher angels that were watching over us, taking care of us. So there is the story of how some of the watchers seduced the first women, and then we have the Nephilim, which I've written a book about called The Watchers, available on Amazon now as ebook and paperback. So angels, watchers, archangels, all of them seem to have been around since the beginning time and before then, before this universe was created. They've walked with the divine. And Gurdjieff goes on to say, they, angels, cherubim, seraphim, they gave names also existing until now to the emanations and radiations issuing from all the cosmoses. They also then at the very beginning established that still now existing sacred determiner of reason. So this determiner of reason I was talking about in the first part has been there since time began for our universe. And we have to remember that according to Gurdjieff, it was the great merciless hieropath, time itself, that started eating away at the universe, at the sun absolute, at the divine source, his endlessness, his home, which is why he created the universe to slow down time and I think make time expend itself to other areas. And time's a difficult subject. Is it linear? I'm not so sure. But it's discussed in a lot of different philosophies and a lot of different creation myths from different faiths. Time is the big question of, it's there. Everyone is caught up in it. From the moment we are born, our clock is ticking, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock to our death. Time eats everything. But maybe I'll come back to that in another time. And in Gurdjieff's All and Everything, he's talking about how all these angels and archangels, who are all around the all-embracing endlessness, as he calls the divine source, they also become involved with humanity's development and also other beings' development. They're very highly concerned with and involved with Beelzebub's development, and also Beelzebub in All and Everything, of course, is being punished for these discretion against his endlessness. It sounds like he put his nose in when he shouldn't have. He offered advice and tried to change things that was a system that was running to how he thought it would run better, so a little bit above himself. So he got exiled, and goes on a bit more deeply than that in All in Everything. So find the true story there. But the angels, the archangels, are all involved in how he is sent away, his exile, and then brought back, and how they're a part of his redemption, which is again an important part of everybody's life. Redemption. We should be redeeming ourselves and helping redeem dark forces. I have a lot of people come to me about, how do we kill off the dark forces? How do we take on the devil? I made a little video about that a few weeks ago, because we're not out to have a big battle with them. The dark forces might want to battle with us, but we can only fight them back with love and redemption. Teach them forgiveness of themselves and their actions. Not all dark forces want to be redeemed, though. It's another difficult matter, as all life is. It's not black and white. But that's how Gurdjieff's helping us develop ourselves so that we can do the right thing and think, feel, and be in the right way, on the right path. We want to be obviously all forgiving and understanding unconditional love, which the dark forces are not attuned to, but we can help them attune to it. They don't like being laughed at. That sometimes pisses them off lots, but sometimes we do have to laugh at them for their craziness. But also dark forces do some obviously dark work upon ourselves, and we have to be aware of that and watch out for that. Again, that's all part of the working on ourselves with the Gurdjieff work. It helps us to become attuned, to know what's going on around us, to become aware, to become awake, so that we can sense when things are not quite right. Maybe the dark forces are trying to edge in, and how to deal with it and not react to it. Of course, we're all trying to be impartial in our development, but I personally think that if we feel like we're in a very dark situation and we're really struggling to come out of it, that's when we can call upon angels or archangels for their help. They are listening to us out there. They are aware of our attempts to improve ourselves, to develop ourselves, and they want to give us a helping hand. And sometimes they do, serendipitously, sometimes without us. We have moments when, I was saying it earlier, that maybe we're stopped going down a certain path that might have taken us somewhere dark, or there's some kind of warning, or perhaps I've said before, I have a book angel. Books seem to come to me that I need when I need them. And I like to think that's an angel that knows that I learn through books. So that angel's popping a few books in my path on the way. And I've heard other people talk about this, like I don't know if they'd want me to say about it, but you can sense them. But also every family has an archangel that watches over them, and we have to find the archangel for each individual, for your family, for each individual family. I personally think that Archangel Michael is a wonderful one to call upon. Obviously, he's the one that battles with the dragon anyway, and he is a protector. So he would protect us all. We've got, I think it's Raphael's the healer in the archangel realm. Gurdjieff has a list of different names for archangels, and maybe we can call upon them. Maybe they were the ones he was working with. Archangel Sakayo, Archangel Luosis, who was, I do a little bit about Archangel Luosis. One of the cherubim, near to our all-embracing endlessness, brought a command from above that, owing to his conscious labours for the attainment of results for the purpose of common cosmic welfare, which is what we're attaining to, the common cosmic welfare, and also owing to the personal petition of the Archangel Leosus, Beelzebub's punishment should no longer affect his posterity. Okay, that's towards the end of the book. But he's talking about how when we're working on ourselves and the divine source is aware of that, his endlessness, he will send archangels and angels down to help us. And maybe if we develop ourselves rightly, we'll be able to see and hear them. Glory be. But he talks about the all quarters maintainer. And these again are archcherubs. He talks about the chief organization and government of the holy planet Purgatory was undertaken at his own wish by our all quarters maintainer, the great archcherub Helga Gematius. And I thought that was quite an interesting name, Helga Gematius. It's definitely got something to do with geometry. And these all quarters maintainers, let me try and find that little bit of that. Hold on, I might just pause it. So the all quarter maintainers do as exactly as it says on the tin. They maintain all quarters of the whole universe. And they're kind of in charge of all the angels and the archangels and the jobs they're supposed to be doing. And I think the names that Gurdjieff gives his various angels and archangels are very important as part of this. Obviously, he makes his names up for a lot of his characters, but he's taken them names, the etymology of them names are quite specific in their meaning, and we have to work that out, whether he's using Russian or Greek or a bit of Latin or what, in understanding what these names are. For example, one of them is Algomantan, Algomantan, Algamantant. He's the archangel. He's the panta measurability, the great arch engineer of the universe, his measurability, the great arch engineer of the universe, the one that created it all, who designed it all out. It's quite interesting or amazing even to think about all these different archangels and angels working on their different in their different fields, in the different departments, being whether they're engineers or writers or singers or musicians or healers or physicians. You know, they all have their roles to play, but at a higher vibration than what we are. But they will help us attain to our higher vibration if we can work on ourselves and are worthy enough for them to come down on us. But we need to call upon them as well. But I did want to finish with this angel bit. So he's saying in most cases concerning these questions, and he's talking about questions about life, the universe and everything, just these ordinary free brain beings, us, who inquire information about every kind of genuine fact exclusively only thanks to being part dog duty, are more competent than any of the angels or cherubim with their prepared being. So the angels and the archangels are all made prepared. They're all, I was going to say fixed then. They are as perfect as angels and archangels can be, where us humans, us free brain beings, have to work upon ourselves to develop ourselves. So this is all an interesting paragraph. So I'm just going to start it again. In most cases concerning these questions, just these ordinary free brain beings who inquire information about every kind of genuine fact exclusively only thanks to being part dog duty are more competent than any of the angels or cherubim with their prepared being, who, though perfected in reason to high gradations, yet as regards practical confrontations, may appear to be only such individuals as our always respected Mullah Nasir ad-Din defines. Never will he understand the sufferings of another who has not experienced them himself, though he may have divine reason and the nature of a genuine devil. You know, we're working on our gradation of reason. We want to have a higher gradation of reason so we can be given a big tick in the book when the determiner of reason judges us. Is that the right word? Probably not judges, examines us, but we want to be worthy. So work upon your gradations of reason, as I do too. This might have been a bit of a blabbering video, really, but or blabbering even. No, I can't even talk today. Don't. Maybe the angels are taking my voice away. But call upon the angels, the archangels, and remember they're there for us, even in our darkest moments. May Archangel Michael walk with you and you walk with Archangel Michael. And thanks to Mr. Gurdjieff for his book.